We are back and ready for PGA Champion Prep with an elevated field event. We've got the Wells Fargo Championship at Quail HOllow. Great week, great event, great course. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I got you covered with everything you need to know here in the 555 podcast, brought to you by DFS Army. What up, everybody? It's your boy DFS Up North here, aka Josh Thomas, brought to you by DFS Army. This is the 555 podcast where I tell you my 5 favorite plays, my 5 favorite punts, and 5 important things that you need to know for the week. We are at the Wells Fargo Championship here in North Carolina at Quail HOllow Golf Club. I am excited. There is lots going on this week. We get an elevated field event. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to break it down for you short, too, because I know that you ain't got the time to talk about it, right? You know the 555 model by now. If you've watched it before, I'd be 5 key stats for the week, 5 favorite plays on DraftKings and Fanduel, and 5 low-owned GPP punts. If you are not a DFS Army VIP, this is obviously free. We break everything down in more detail in our cheat sheets, research station. You can use the optimizer, all that. If you're not a DFS Army VIP, you can use that code Up North. That gets you for life. But if you just want like a little taste of what we do this week, if you have never had a DFS Army subscription before, you can get a free week of our props membership. So my boys Will and who else is in there? Sniper, Madness, those guys are crushing it in the props every week. So if you play on sites like Prize Picks, what else? Sleeper, all these sites, right? Or just betting props, right? The free week of props membership. So you just put in the promo code free props when you sign up for that props membership, you get a free week of props, which is like a great deal, right? So if you just want to get a little sneak of what we do, right? Get in there with those guys. They are winning every single week. So like I said, we are at Quail HOllow Golf Club over here in Charlotte, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And it is a track that has hosted majors before. We've had Justin Thomas won a major here. We've had Ryder Cups here, or not Ryder Cups, sorry, President's Cups. But they honestly might have had a Ryder Cup here. I'm not 100% sure. But it is a George Cobb design, and a Tom Fazio redesign, done it a couple of times actually. I am excited to see how this course plays again this year for the big boys. We get an elevated event. All the studs are here except for oopsies. Your boy Ludwig Aberg, who has said that he is dealing with a knee injury, if my memory serves. And Scotty Scheffler's not here either, as we await the birth of his baby. I saw somebody on Twitter saying yesterday that this is like the most anticipated arrival since Christ, although that probably wasn't really anticipated by that many people, besides Mary and Joseph. But yeah, it is an elevated event. So we get all the studs here. But what that really means is that we get good players at cheap values. So usually you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, sub 7K. You have legitimate players to choose from this week. And that makes it easier to fit in some of the studs, which we'll talk about here when we get to my favorite plays section. Something that I'm really taking into account this week is that this is a long course, 7,558 yards. Typically, we'd see that be like a par 72, but this is a par 71. It is super long, all right, and it punches you in the mouth right off the start. So this is going to be a long course. Guys are going to have, as we see here in a little bit, but long approaches in. You have to be able to get it off the tee to contend here. All right, grass types, we get POA overseed everywhere. The course superintendent said that it's about 50-50 overseed in the fairway, 90-10 in the rough. What that means is that the rough is more POA than Bermuda, and POA is typically a little bit easier to get out of, actually a lot easier to get out of than Bermuda, which is going to bring us to our next point here in a couple of seconds. But with those long courts, we're going to have lots of long approaches in. Most guys are going to hit 150, 175, 200 yards into almost every single hole here or longer. So not a lot of wedges. All right, this is not a bomb and gouge your wedge in type of event. You're not going to see guys, maybe some of the longer guys like Wyndham Clark might have a wedge or two in on a couple of these holes, but you're not going to see a lot of wedges here. It's going to be, 8, 9, 7. You got to get those longer clubs out of your bag here, which I do like. It's similar to courses like Augusta, Torrey Pines. very, that long kind of just, you gotta grit your teeth and bear it type of course. You got to really pound it out there. And, you're going to have to some good shots around here to be successful. All right. With the rough, not only is it going to be Paul overseed, 90-10, it's going to be only about 2 inches. There really isn't a penalty for hitting the ball in the rough here. So guys off the tee are going to be able to just grip and rip. All right. So take that into account when you are building lineups this week. I absolutely am. And I'm starting it off with one of the biggest grip and rippers in the field, and that is Rory McIlroy. I have a weirdly Korean flavor to my favorite plays this week. But yeah, Rory McIlroy starts it off. Not Korean, obviously, North Irishman. Coming off of a win at the alternate event. And really, you try not to read too much into things like that, but the win at the alternate event, if you watched, it was a lot of Rory McIlroy out there. So the game's in good shape. Did not play that great here last year, but if you remember back to last year, his form wasn't in great shape to begin with. So I really love Rory here. He's been playing great golf. He is trending in the right direction, and it would be very Rory-esque to win the week before the PGA and then go out there and bomb next week. So I like Rory a lot this week. Following that up with another long hitter and Benny On. All right, Benny On's game's been continuing to trend in the right direction. Love him this week at 8,100. Pairing those two together makes your lineups work. All right, you can really fit whoever after that. If you throw in maybe a punt, you can really fit whoever. But Benny On has cut his teeth on these long type of courses. Weirdly, hasn't had a ton of success at Quail HOllow over his career, but his his game's in great shape right now. Great with his long irons, can putt a little. Like if he can just neutrally putt this week, I think he's in the mix. Siwoo Kim, a guy we've been on for a while now. The one concern I have with Siwoo is that over 200 yards, he's not super great. But that 150 to 200 yard range, he's nails, man. Like the guy is clutch from there. The putter's been way more consistent this year. He's great off the tee, so love him. Colin Morikawa coming in off of back-to-back top 10s, working with his old swing coach. It feels like he's a guy who is he's knocking on the door right now. He is trending in the right direction. I'm expecting him to be close to a core play for me next week. But yeah, he could, not blow it here, but he could jump in and get his win this week instead of the major next week at Valhalla. And then Sungjae Im, guy who burned everyone last week, myself included. All right. Really high on Sungjae coming into the event. Had just won in Korea. Caught a cold on the plane. All right. Was too sick to go. Got some rest and is now here. Because of that WD last week, his ownership is going to absolutely freaking crater. Love the way that Sungjae has been playing. And I am jumping all over him at that 7,900 price point. I think he probably 5-6. The pricing is weird this week. It's hard to say because, you look at Tony Finau at 8,000, similar sort of play. But I really like Sungjae this week. I think that he bounces back. Look at that. 3 Koreans in there. And then, you got Morikawa in there as well. If we look at my punts, like I said, there is plenty of value on the board. Starts with Matthew Pavon for me. Winner earlier this year at Torrey Pines in the Farmers Insurance Open. Great long course player, the Frenchman is. I think he's built for championship golf. Right? I really do. The 12th at the Masters sort of solidified that for me. He is built for these classic long tests of golf. All right. So Pavon, 6,500 as core gets for me this week. Billy Horschel coming off a win of his own. He just weirdly kind of rates out really well for me here. So at 7,200, I'm all over Horschel. Another guy who rates out really well for me is Kurt Kitayama, guy who he can get it around off the tee. We've seen him contend at these big boy courses before. So at 6,800, I'm willing to take some chances on Kitayama. And then Austin Eckroat, former winner, another guy who's won already this year. Great off the tee. He's not going to make a lot of mistakes, which I think you're not going to need a million birdies here this week. So, a guy who's going to be a steady Eddie like that at 6,600, I can get on board with. And then finally, Cameron Davis crushes long courses. Form right now is just a little bit sort of up and down, right? I think that this is the type of event that he can smash. Obviously, winner at like Detroit Golf Club, which is a classic type of course, but not very long. Weirdly, has been better on short courses, but I do think that he plays really well this week. 6,400. Another guy that I'm playing, but is a little bit more expensive that I didn't list here is Akshay Bhatia, Carolina kid. Loves a good long course. We're not at a coastal course here, but he proved me wrong in Texas by playing well at these coastal courses. Going to be a popular guy next week because of at Valhalla. He won a U.S. Junior there. So Bhatia is a guy that you can jump on as well. So there, I gave you 6 of my favorite punts this week. Again, pump this one more time. Free week of props memberships. Use that code FREEPROPS. Again, has to be for people who have never been a DFS Army subscriber before. But yeah, check that out if you have never been a DFS Army subscriber before. And then, you know, if you want to become a VIP, you can use that code up north, get access to everything. All right. So hit me up in the Discord when you get there. We'll chat it up. And you know, we got the PGA next week. So let's go, baby. All right. Cheers.